Let's see the quick demo of Three.js application. We just build an application, web game over here. So there's a sample application of that cube. Another one is the mouse movement. So yeah, same cube, but yeah, if you just try to over here, so yeah, you can just move that mouse movement with that cube. So yeah, we will just install setup. So let's moving to start implementation. So before we start implementation, I'm especially recommend, if you first time visit my channel, go to my channel. This is .NET real world example, and then here you can learn many AI integration in any application, front end, back end, as a full stack development. And also if you want to learn mobile development, game development, and also you can learn many things over here. So now moving start to implementation. So here you can just see there is a official website of Three.js. So we will start from here. I'll share this link in my video description. Yeah, so first of all I just open the BS code with this new window. So open a folder using BS code, and here I can see this is the simple empty folder over here. Okay, so that I'll show you that from scratch how we can just start that game development using web application without any additional environment setup or anything, right? Because it is a very powerful and also a very lightweight actually. Okay, so what you need to do, simply just go to that any terminal. So actually there is a two way to set up this in your application. So I'll just use the first way where actually I can utilize npm along with that an white application. Okay, so simply first I'll just install this uh, Three.js library. So what I can do, simply I can just install this over here. So over here, see, once I install, so it will just create the package along with their settings over here. So just add it over here. So once you add, now we'll just use the byte application to run this application byte Three.js. So simply I can use another one like npm install and save this environment dev environment for using byte. So simply hit enter. Now this is also done. Now once you're done, now we can just simply run this application. Okay, so using this npx white, so it will be run this application. Okay, and if we just open it, copy this and go to any browser over here. So it should be the blank or nothing over here, because we don't create any initial or starting point over here. So what I'll do, simply I can just close that. Okay, and we will just create index.html, or we can just simply create this index.html over here, because we will just build the game using this web application, right? So this is the way actually we can simply use the entry point of that index.html, and then corresponding elements or corresponding things actually we can develop using the Three.js library using the syllabus. So yeah, I can just use a simple HTML actually, which will can run. And also see, this is the dependency actually, that is script. Either you can just use the separate module of that JS, so you can just utilize, or if you want you can itself using inside that. Okay, but yeah, I'll just simply just create this in here over there. Yeah, main.js, that's it. Okay, so if it is now if you now run your application, definitely it will give you it will actually directly talk to with this index HTML and all. So yeah, let me just open this in a new terminal, and yeah, I can just use this npx byte. Okay, so to run this application, so that whatever we build we can see it. Okay, so let me open it again, go back to here. If you just refresh, now see my application is running without any error and all, and it is listening properly. Okay, but nothing, we have just implemented that game perspective, right? So to implement in this main.js, Three.js, so first actually we need to import Three.js library over here. So yeah, this is that library actually. So Three.js, which we just import download package inside that node.js from my startup. So actually this import Three.js library to entire Three.js library actually. So basically this Three.js file will be handle like all that scene, camera, render, and box geometry, mesh material, mesh, and etc and all, right? So yeah, this is very powerful library. So this is the first thing actually we need to do. Second, we have to set that scene. Okay, so for scene actually we just simply we can create a scenes, because every game actually required a scene. Inside that scene actually we have to add all that kind of players, or players and any opticals, and also actually it will handle inside the scenes. So yeah, we have to create a scenes where we just just 3D object actually we can populate it. And then we have to just create a camera. Okay, so now this is the scene. Inside the scene actually we have to set up some camera, and for this camera we can just simply use this three, which is that threejs, and using this function. And in this function actually we have that couple of parameter. So based on this actually, so yeah, first actually we will just try to use you know let me just use 75. Okay, so this 75 actually just degree of that your bite angle, what how much angle actually you just bite over here. So that, and then second actually we just set that aspect ratio over there, like set that current window, inner width and inner height based on that. So this is set actually what our aspect ratio. And then we have to set some closest, how closest actually to camera look like. Okay, so yeah, this is simply 0.1. And also we have to add some units over there. So simply you can just add some default units. Okay, and we can just close that. That's it. Okay, so this is just setting up that camera. And once you set that camera, now we have to just render. So now we have to use webgl render. So actually just web graphic library, it is just called web graphic library, which is JavaScript API to render 3D graphic. Okay, so simply I can just use this web graphic render over here. And then we have to render the fill entire browser window. So for that we have to set resize that window using this render resize method, and also just pass our current windows inner and inner width and inner height. Okay, and then we have to add some animations over here. Okay, so for this animation actually we have to just create one function, so where we can just use this animation. So yeah, let me just first create a one function. So one function actually over here we can just create a function, like simply use this as an animation. Okay, and this animation actually we will just handle that x and y axis. So for that actually we can just simply use as a we will just try to animation on the cube, right? So yeah, we can utilize this cube rotation. As of now we have not created this cube, but yeah, we'll just create after just create this animation. So yeah, first we just set this as axis, x-axis, and then also we just set delay time. So yeah, this is the delay time actually, that rotations, right? And then we have to use that cube rotation for that y-axis, and also this is a delay time. And then finally whatever the scenes and camera actually we have to just render it over here and close that function. Okay, so now our function is ready, which will handle our cube rotations over here. And this function we have to call over here. So basically once your function is called no created like for animation, so now we have to set using this function inside this render. So set animation function and call this function, and this actually function will call each typically each times per second, 60 seconds. Okay, so yeah, now our animation is called over here inside this render. And then finally we just canvas, we can just call that canvas and update our canvas, like current document, right? Whatever the document in the body, append that whatever random documents. And also yeah, we just simply append add and as the last child of this body element. So whatever just current things actually we just add it over here, right? Then finally the last step actually we need to create a cube. So that for cube first actually we just create box geometry. So simply first let me just create a geometry, and this geometry actually basically we just set the parameter, how actually you want to create a box geometry, and then we have to create some materials. So here that another function of this threejs actually just provide this function actually to add this mesh color and all. So here there's a mesh material, so here I just add that color. So yeah, once you create a mesh material, then finally we have to create a mesh where actually that combine of this is geometry and material and create a cube. Okay, and then finally we have to just add that cube inside that scenes. Okay, so yeah, this is pretty much good over here. We just create the scenes in the top, so that we just add that cube over here. That's it. Okay, and then finally one last thing actually we have to add position of this camera. So there is this position actually, that camera position. So this camera position actually we just ensure that cube are front on that camera. Okay, so I think yeah, this is pretty much good. So if I can just over here side by side, so we can see how actually look like. So yeah, this is my application actually. And if I just over here, perfect. Now you can see over here that cube actually, whatever cube as per the camera actually right now it is its current position, so that's why we have not seen any camera movement and all. But yeah, definitely in in next actually we will try to movement also, like this cube we will just try to movement based on our mouse direction. So this is a simple way actually we can just create a game in this web application using the Three.js. And yeah, in upcoming session definitely we will create a real world example and a game like real play game over here, just first person controller, third person controller, and also shooter game, and also all that game we will build. So yeah, I think this is the way. And then one more thing actually I would like to show you. Now see, I just run this application using this node.js and byte, right? But another way also we have, you don't require is a byte. Actually you can just simply run itself using this your own library. Okay, so how we can do that? So for that what I'll do, I'll just simply delete everything over here. Okay, so I just clean up everything. See, whatever that node package and node modules and all, everything I just remove. Now we have just simple this HTML, and this is our that main JS actually where we just utilize. Okay, so what I can do in this case, so without actually if we don't record byte application or any other application, if we want to simple HTML and we can run this application, how we can do that of this Three.js. So yeah, for that actually we can just use over here this is script, this module package actually directly we can utilize. So here I can just use this import package, right, like libraries directly over here. But yeah, here actually one thing we have to take it care, like this version actually we have not add any version. So yeah, whatever version actually currently latest package actually that we can utilize. So how we can get that? Simply you can just go to that, okay, this particular directory, and if you see over here this Three.js, and these are actually all the true npm version is over there, right? So whatever version actually if you want, so you can just utilize, like okay, so this is that latest one, so I can just use this latest one over here, copy this and just go to and just simply paste it or replace it to over here. Okay, and same things to over here. That's it. Okay, so save it. So once you save it, now another things actually, see, this is that another hack, like either you can directly create a new files over there that you can directly use it over here, or inside this whatever code actually you just want to use it over here, right? So that simply you can just use inside this script itself without this src link. Okay, up to you. Okay, once you're done, just simply these two files, right, and also just import this package, is this import package. That's it, change with this version. And simply what I can do, here actually we can just use npx serve and dot. Okay, this is that command actually will run this Three.js server, it's local. So simply hit enter. So once you enter, so I can see my local listening point is running, and just copy this guy, go back to here and open it there. Perfect. Now see, my application is running without any other application, just simply HTML along with Three.js. Okay, so there is a two way actually you can set up, and yeah, that pretty much good for this session. And yeah, upcoming session definitely we will create lots of application in a web, lots of game as well, using this web development libraries, using the web development libraries. So yeah, till now, thank you, have a nice day, and don't forget to like, subscribe and share.